Today, we're looking at recycling for retail businesses and share some common materials retailers could be recycling but aren't. Kia ora, I'm Carolyn Young, Chief Executive of Retail NZ. Recycling can save your business money and reduce your carbon footprint. I'm joined by Rebecca Pine, who's the Regional Business Manager with Reclaim. Reclaim is a recycling service in New Zealand that's New Zealand owned and operated for over 50 years and is recognised as the largest privately owned supplier of recyclable resources. Reclaim offer a range of business recycling services aimed at improving production efficiency and reducing environmental impact. Welcome, Rebecca.
Thank you, Caroline. Lovely to be here. Obviously, at Reclaim, we're pretty passionate about recycling, so this is a great opportunity. Thank you.
Yeah, pleasure. Look, it's a big topic and it's often quite daunting. So I guess if we just start, a lot of retail businesses are looking for ways to cut costs. It's a really difficult environment at the moment. How could recycling help them save money and I guess also help the environment at the same time?
Absolutely. So the best way for a business to look at reducing costs is to actually understand what they procure and how they dispose of it and whether it can be reused. Looking at what we're buying and what we're doing with it is the best way to assess what opportunities there are for us to recycle. With the cost of waste rising, it becomes increasingly more expensive to keep sending things to landfill. So diversion isn't just a cost-effective exercise, it also helps in keeping resources in circulation for longer. Landfill costs are significantly higher than the same volume of recycling. Therefore, any company that can identify materials that can be recycled will generally save a lot of money.
So how would someone identify those recycling? What would they do to identify that?
So there's a range of things that businesses can do. There's the obvious ones where, cardboard, paper, glass, all of those things. So that's sort of the easy ones for us to identify pretty quickly. And what you'll find is by identifying those quick and easy ones, then it does significantly reduce what goes into your landfill.
And so how would you start implementing a recycling program if you maybe don't have anything now or are only recycling cardboard or that sort of thing, without it feeling daunting, I guess?
Yeah, absolutely. So we know that most businesses want to recycle. We're all pretty passionate about sustainability and we know that businesses are as well. So I guess what our job is to help as much as we can to make that process as easy as what we can do. One of the things that is probably a good start is actually doing a waste audit where somebody will come in and check whether it should be landfill, whether it's cardboard, whether it's plastic, whether it's glass, so on and so on. So by getting an understanding of what could actually be recycled by going through the process of doing an audit is probably the easiest and quickest way to find out what those wins could be. The ones that are pretty obvious are definitely your cans, your plastic bottles, your glass jars, your glass bottles. And so, even if you just start with those ones, then you're in a really good place.
And so can the team at Reclaim help you do that audit?
Yeah, absolutely. I spend a lot of time in my day going out to businesses and having a look at what their waste is and then giving them some ideas and suggestions as to what they can do and how they can change it. One of the things that we do also offer is a full audit where we will go in and audit the business's waste over a period of time, and then we will break it all down and report it back. So that's a really good option for, a larger sort of a customer. But if you're a small operator, then, I can pop in and have a look and give you a few pointers from that point.
And how would people get in touch with you? What's the best way on the website?
www.reclaim.co.nz.
Perfect. So you've talked a little bit about the quick wins in terms of, just your plastics and the everyday things that we do at home as well. Would they make a big difference for businesses if they're just starting out with their recycling?
Yeah, I'm actually going to give you a personal experience. Previous to coming to Reclaim, I actually owned my own business. So I actually was with a waste supplier and my costs each week just seemed to keep going up. So we needed to get our bins emptied more frequently, and the weight of the bins were proving to be quite expensive to get it emptied. So what I did was I actually did get an audit done of my business, and I actually managed to divert 75% of my waste into recycling. So I went from having 2 or 3 bins emptied every week to only having 1 bin emptied every fortnight. So those ones definitely are there and really simple to do.
So it's really important to sort the waste, isn't it? And sorting into the accurate buckets, I suppose, where things should be. So sort of what role does that play in maximising the benefits that you would get from recycling?
Yeah, so source separation as the principle of the sorting recyclable materials instead of once the recycling processing has been done. The benefits of separating at the source, so in your office before it goes into a bin, means that the materials actually retain a greater value. So there's less chance of contamination, it stops it being degraded, etc., etc. So having separate bins for each thing is probably the easiest way of doing it. Environmentally speaking, this approach means we capture more materials and prevent it going to the landfill, which also optimises the process of recycling and the circular economy. Financially, businesses are better to understand what the makeup is of their waste and identify opportunities for diversion. Recycled materials are normally sold in volume, so the unit value is quite low. This impacts the ability to invest in sorting pre-mixed materials, as the cost of separation is often more than the retained value of the material. So that's why it's really important.
And so you talked a little bit about the business that you own. Do you have other success stories within retail that you can share with us where people have seen, I guess, both cost savings and a reduced carbon footprint after implementing a new program?
Yeah, absolutely. So I've got actually 2 really good examples. One in Wellington, where we went into a business. Now they were a larger, so sort of a medium to large size business. Now they had everything going into skips. That's what they did. It was all going to waste. They were really passionate about sustainability, and their staff actually were the ones that were the driving force for them to change how they were going about things, which was really cool. So when the staff actually provided feedback in their reviews, they said one of the things that was the most important was the recycling. So I went into that business, did a bit of an audit to understand all the different components of what was making up their waste. Now we went in and put in glass, paper, food, pretty much every part of recycling was there and it was available. So it was really easy to just take it from the waste, sort it into the respectable bins. The staff were totally on board with it. We even did a session with their cleaners so that when the cleaners were doing the rubbish, it's really easy if the cleaners can just put it into the correct bin. Now that worked really, really well. They honestly reduced their waste by about 80%. It was phenomenal. So it is that easy. And I think once you talk to your staff and they get on board, I'm always happy to go and speak to the cleaning company to get them to understand how it works and why it's important. So all of those things do make a big difference.
That end-to-end piece is really critical, isn't it? That, you've got to have your staff on board, and it's great that they were driving that, because if you have one person in the ecosystem that's not contributing in that way, then obviously, things go astray and stuff starts going into rubbish. And I think, as you said, engaging and communicating with the cleaners and understanding what they're doing at point of distribution when they're picking it up is really just as vitally important as actually doing the sorting itself.
Yeah, it absolutely is. And when we did that, it was a company that had different stores in different areas. So it
Yes.
wasn't just in Wellington. And so they sort of started doing some competitions, one site versus the other site, as to how much they could recycle. They'd wait, like they got pretty involved in the whole process, which was awesome. But I guess, and that's the beauty of it. One of the other things you can do is like if we put a lunch and learn, where we spend half an hour going through what could be recycled and all that sort of stuff, and try to make it a bit fun, which definitely seems to make a difference as well.
And we can all learn something. I think none of us know everything, right? And I think taking some time out to speak with the experts is always going to be useful. Look, thank you so much for joining us today, Rebecca. It's been such a pleasure to speak with you and hear how Reclaim is supporting businesses to recycle and reduce their carbon footprint. Some of the key things we've learned today is really about getting started, identifying the different categories of waste that are coming into your business, sorting them, speaking to experts, getting some advice around how you can, reduce costs and actually maybe get some revenue in from your recycling. Get in touch with the team at Reclaim at reclaim.co.nz. And look, thanks for being with us today.
Thanks, Caroline. That was awesome.
Look, I hope you enjoyed this episode. Don't forget to visit reclaim.co.nz to find out more. It was part of our Empowering Retail series, your go-to resource for short, actionable insights designed to take your retail business to the next level. Watch our other episodes and don't forget to subscribe. Ka kite anō. Bye for now. Kia ora.